lattes and nut job.
Hey guys, real quick, kind of thought hit me. First off, I got a couple new lights back there behind me, and they're kind of set on brightness of the sun level, and yeah, that's why this weird glares all over everything. This engine there'll be a video coming really soon on this engine running. I'm buttoning up the last few details right this minute to fire it up and get it running. I got to put the water pump on, run the plug wires, and may actually end up painting this cap black right here to match the rest of the engine, I think, because that's kind of bugging me right now. Kind of stands out like you see this, not this. Yeah. Listen, don't let my OCD distract you from the goodness here. So this will be running tomorrow. The water pump will be in the morning. I have a water pump here that I could put on it to run it, but I'd have to end up taking it back off. This is going to a customer who has a 68, if I believe correctly, a Ford truck. And the water pump I have here is for an earlier one. The holes and provisions on it is made for a generator, not an alternator, and it would get weird for him. So instead of making things weird for him, I just ordered the correct water pump for his truck. And that's what we're going to put on there. That doesn't matter. Interesting thought I came up with today, and I've got to turn these lights off because I can't know. I'll give you the rundown on this engine here in a few minutes, but I had an interesting thought today, or maybe a discovery, or maybe I just figured something out that everybody else knew. That is, women are better at this job than men. And what job am I referring to? No, you perv, not that job. Listen, I go into the auto parts store a lot, the local auto parts store. I actually have a parts account, a dealer account through a couple parts companies that I can buy parts wholesale, but sometimes getting parts locally saves me a lot. So I go in to the local parts store here in town a few days ago. As I always do, I try not to go in on weekends because I deal with a commercial sales associate, and well, he's not in on weekends, so I try to avoid the place on weekends because I usually get stuck with the less intelligent of the litter. But they've got a young lady that works there now that is very good at her job. Now, I say this because a lot of people that have known me for a long time know my daughter started out, one of the first jobs she had was working at O'Reilly Auto Parts, which is actually where I ended up with that giant O'Reilly's flag you see in the background. Some of my videos, the guy that hired her hooked me up with that flag early on to carry the tracks and stuff with me. I digress. I have noticed, and I'm kind of guilty of this myself, if somebody, for instance, starts talking to me about they're having a problem with the FE, as soon as they mention the first symptom, I'm already running a parts list in my head. I'm already thinking of scenarios and causes and all this stuff. And I think a lot of times when we're going to these parts stores, these guys that we talk to, They act like they got something to prove that they're smarter than everybody else. And they're already trying to sell you apart before they listen to what the problem really is. Or they're trying to sell you a part that you don't really need. Or the only thing they know is what that computer tells them, and they argue with you about what you're trying to tell them. Now, let's be honest. A lot of the stuff I work on is bastardized. It's not as simple as going into the part store and ordering a part for a 68 ranch wagon, because honestly, the only thing that's 68 ranch wagon on that thing is the body. You know what I mean? It's got a motor out of a Mustang, a transmission out of a Mustang, but different types of Mustangs. It's got a rear end out of a different vehicle. It's just a hodgepodge. And the majority of the stuff I work on is that hodgepodge. So I usually go in there with an idea of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a certain part number, and I try to do the research for them before I ever go in there. Some of the young men in there seems to fry their brain. Here's what I'm saying. Unpopular opinion, but I believe the ladies make better part store associates than the guys do. Somebody right now is screaming at the screen right now, having a meltdown. And you ain't even heard what I got to say. It's like this. Whether you like to admit it or not, or whether your wife does it at home or not, women tend to listen better. When you go into a part store and you're looking for something, men are kind of bullheaded. They think they know more than you do. Some of these guys want to prove a point that they're the guru genius of engines, and they don't want to listen. Whereas the women will stop and listen to what you're working on. They may ask a couple of questions. Let's do story time with Bobby. Few weeks back, I go into the parts store, and I am in need quickly of really one plug wire, but I know I'm going to have to buy a set, and I'm okay with that. One of the MSD wires has burnt on a header. It happens. It was a mistake. Doesn't matter why it happened. It did. I needed one plug wire. I was literally on my way out of town when I discovered this. I go into the parts store, and said male associate, assistant manager. Yeah, we don't have anything like that. You don't have, listen, I just need a HEI, a wire with a HEI end on it. I don't care what it is, I just need a wire with a HEI end on it. What's it going on? Well, it's going on my Galaxy, but it's got an MSD ignition. So he proceeds to hand me a set of plug wires for a stock ignition. That won't work. I need a HEI end on it. Well, this is what a computer says you need. No, you don't understand. I'm running a MSD ignition. I need a set of plug wires made for an HEI style cap. I don't know. It doesn't give me an option for that. No, listen. So we run around and around, and basically he comes to the conclusion that he can't get what I need. Doesn't exist, basically. Fast forward, young lady is in the store. I'm not going to call any names, but I'll say she is good at her job. She's young, and she's not been there very long. I tell her, I said, let's try this again. I need a set of plug wires that have an HEI end on them. I don't care what they're made for, but I need a set that will work with an MSD style distributor. I I just need an HEI end on them. She never touches the computer. She turns around, picks up a box of wires, sets them on the counter. We've got these. Perfect. That's exactly what I need. So kind of unapologetically here, I'm sitting here going, I believe the women make better part store associates than men do. Because they actually are willing to listen to what you're trying to tell them. Now, nothing against this young man. He couldn't see beyond that computer screen. All right. Now, that's better, right? Got a black cap on it now instead of the red cap. That looks a little better. We will hear this engine run, hopefully, tomorrow. I'll hear it run tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a video and y'all can hear it run as well tomorrow. But the idea is this motor will be running tomorrow. All right. Now we've got a black cap to go with it. I need a little shine, guys. Let me have just a little bit. All right. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. This video wasn't really about this engine, although you will hear this engine run tomorrow. I've got some wiring to do, and I've got some plumbing to do, but this engine will be running tomorrow. And this wasn't really about this. This was more about don't be so hard on the women at parts stores. They're smarter than most of the guys that work there.
I'd say it's a nut job.